devil is amongst us. Stay back, boy. This calls for divine intervention. I kick ass for the Lord.
I feel the best in club VIP, gas tank on, evil all drinks on me. White man, fresh kick, fresh white all deep, fresh NFL head, fresh bowls with the crew. White man, I feel the best in club VIP, gas tank on, evil all drinks on me. White man, fresh kick, fresh white all deep, fresh NFL head, fresh bowls with the crew. White man. I put the best in club VIP, gas tank on, evil all drinks on me. White man, fresh kick, fresh white all deep, fresh NFL head, fresh bowls with the crew. White man, I put the
Take a breath from your gut, not your chest, and realize that you're okay. Feel the air in your lungs, slowing down the rapid dump of stress in your heart. Tomorrow is a new day. Look around at your room, at the things that you consume. Do you really care if it all just burned away? Burned away. A positive mind can rule all of mankind. It's convenient to be blind when we're all looking alike, and the hustle as you following the wrong signs. A positive mind, a positive mind. From the slums you can arise, feel your spirit deep inside, move and shake. Excited is the energy to understand that life is grand and exists larger than your end is key. And to responsibility, so look back at your room. What is it telling you? Is it really there to make you feel at ease? Feel at ease. A positive mind can rule all of mankind. It's convenient to be blind when we're all looking alike, and the hustle as you following the wrong signs. A positive mind, a positive mind. Positivity through responsibility. Start living by your own design. Positivity through responsibility. Start living by your own design. Positivity through responsibility. Start living by your own design. Positivity through responsibility. Start living by your own. Exhale and expel all the negativity within yourself. You own what you are worth, and it's been with you since birth, so let it be. It don't matter what the others see, so burn up that messy room. It's meaningless unless to survive with nothing left can make you truly free. Truly free. A positive mind can rule all of mankind. It's convenient to be blind when we're all looking alike, and the hustle as you follow in the wrong signs. Positive mind, a positive mind can rule all of mankind. It's convenient to be blind when we're all looking alike, and the hustle as you follow in the wrong signs. A positive mind, a positive mind. combination. Well, now that's all I need, 'cause it's the perfect combination. We're moving at our own speed. We're talking higher concentration. So keep it moving with me. Yeah, let me tell you now we're grooving. Nothing like roots reggae music. Now turn it up, I wanna lose it. Nothing like roots reggae music. Oh, oh, we're grooving. Nothing like roots reggae music. Now turn it up, I wanna lose it. Nothing like roots reggae music. Yeah, yeah. We're grooving. Feel the vibes of the music. It's alright. Whoa, oh. 'Cause when the music hold you, stay out all night. Yeah, yeah. You wanna jump, you wanna shout, you wanna skank. You wanna shout it all about. I let the whole world know the music has got you. Oh, oh. We wanna move, we wanna groove, we wanna move, we wanna play it non-stop. We wanna move, we wanna groove, we wanna move, we wanna play it non-stop. Because you can't stop this feeling, you can't stop this groove, can't stop this music, you can't kill this mood. Music in the message in the music. Never leaves out in the right time, it'll give back. Well, let me tell you now we're grooving. Nothing like roots reggae music. Now turn it up, I wanna lose it. Nothing like roots reggae music. We're grooving. Nothing like roots reggae music. Now turn it up, I wanna lose it. Nothing like roots reggae music. Oh, 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 oh. Whoa, whoa. Oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, oh. All right, we're moving. Grooving. We're grooving. from done. my speakers are up. The sound sweeter with an echo chamber. Don't you know that they are the danger? 3 bottles of crystal and it's agreed. The best would only come from the dawn Wesley. Close my eyes when I take a ride. For the bag in the outside, oh, don't worry about that, you see it's all natural. Police chasing this bandolero, running down the road with my thick arrow. One stop was my music shop where I heard this guitar screaming. Bring up new style, holding trophy cups. Rory select while my speakers are up. The sound sweeter with an echo chamber. Don't you know that they are the danger? 3 bottles of crystal and it's agreed. The best would only come from the dawn Wesley. Close my eyes and take a ride. Oh. Take a ride, everybody take a ride. 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 Take a ride, everybody take a ride.
smoking love, smoking love. I wanna be alone with you and get us down. I wanna go home with you and let alone. I wanna get high, I wanna get low. Come on, I wanna smoke a little spliff with you. I wanna get high, I wanna get low. Come on, I wanna smoke a little spliff with you. Smoking love.
Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. I think I figured out my camera deal. I think I have. But, and how did you like that music? I'm trying something different. Everyone says, oh, you can't do metal all the time. You can't, whatever. I can do metal all the time, but I can do other stuff too. So give me a 5x5 if you can hear me, and then rate the music. 1 out of 10 while I figure out my camera deal. Thank you for being here. Okay. Excellent. All right, so I'm just figuring out this camera. Kind of at the end of my stream last time, it sort of just like crapped out on me, but hang on. Let's make sure everything's plugged in right. Okay. All right, so thank you guys. So today I've got actually something what I want to go over once I get all of this situated. What I want to go over today is, unfortunately, what appears to be an unfavorable ruling with a question mark. That's what I should have put. I should have put a question mark on that on the title of this stream today. Boom, shaka. Oh, the final task is removing the Band-Aid cover. The unhackable Band-Aid. All right. Oh, you get out of here. So, remember when I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about how, I got to, file a motion for intervention in this case over access to election records. Well, I didn't get a notice of any ruling being issued, and I thought that they would send it, but what I did get a notice of just today is something that I can't figure out how to share it from another browser, but let me see. Just today I got an email from the acting Attorney General of Texas, because y'all know they just impeached our boy Paxton in the House. So he's suspended until August 30th. So guess who Abbott appointed as acting Attorney General? John B. Scott, his point man. However, I got an email today, and it looks like John B. Scott, as acting Attorney General, has filed another motion in this court case, and it's for another trial and for clarification. He's saying that the judge's ruling, which I didn't get a notice of being issued on the 19th, May 19th apparently, that the judge's ruling stated pretty much like made a decision about a point that nobody was making. So let me read this to you since I can't pull it up in another browser for some reason. So this is what Texas Attorney General John Scott has said. He says, Defendant John Scott, in his official capacity as Provisional Attorney General of the State of Texas, through the Office of the Attorney General of Texas, files this motion for new trial, request for clarification, and motion to abate in support thereof. The defendant respectfully shows the court as follows. I don't think this is a problem to read. I don't know if this is. Anyways, he's going on. I won't read the whole thing because I don't know if this is a problem to read, but he cites a May 19th ruling from the judge in this case that like I said, I did not get any notification for. But he says this court found that Texas Election Code 66.058 is quote is a more specific statute than Section 1.012 of the Election Code, and ruled that quote, based on the plain language of the statute, the information at issue is not subject to disclosure under the Public Information Act until 22 months after the relevant election day. So that's a bullshit. That's bullshit. Okay, because 66.058, it just says, okay, so this is the issue here, because this is the debate. Steve Lund and I had this whole discussion. Steve Lund is the Tarrant County attorney who's filed this motion, who's suing the Attorney General. Well, he's on behalf of the county. Steve Lund says, so basically, like, the only way that you could get access to these election records within the 22-month time period is through some sort of official proceeding, and that there's not a mechanism for that. There is a mechanism for that. It's, first of all, it's laid out for anyone who wants to go through a district court. We could ask for access to that. I guess that's what we're doing right here. But also, a Public Information Act request is binding by law and is an official proceeding. But because in 1.012 it says you can't, 1.012 says they're public records, and 66.058 basically is just like, yeah, they have to be preserved for 22 months, and not everybody can just come in and touch them all the time. You can only access them through official channels, basically is what it says, or other official proceeding. Well, Public Information Act request is an official proceeding. But because it says or other official proceeding, and they're not considering Public Information Act requests, which are binding by law, they're not considering that an official proceeding, which is stupid, because Public Information Act requests, they can be fulfilled, like stuff can be handed to me physically, like, here's your document that you wanted, or they can be like, I can't give that to you, but you can look at it, but I can't let you take it home. I can't make a copy of it for whatever reason. There may be documents like that you can look at, like, in camera, you know what I mean, or not in camera, in like a skiff type of thing where you can look at it but you can't take it, and they could easily work that out with these election records. Besides the fact that they're totally anonymous and there's no risk to anybody for us to access them in the first place. So they're acting like, well, you know, first of all, that it's a risk to let us see these records anyways, and then that you can't access them for 22 months which after 22 months they can legally destroy them, which is why we don't want to wait 22 months. I don't even want to wait 60 days, because after 60 days they can take the ballots out of the bags per location and mix them all up together, store them all together, and then it's like, then you can't audit. Then good luck auditing those at all. The only chance you have to actually audit these records, because they're not stored, we're not voting in precinct anymore, and they're not stored by precinct anymore, which is required by law, because we're not doing that anymore. We're just voting everywhere in county. The only time to audit these ballots is within 60 days, when they're still in their original bags from the locations they came from. Then you can do a real audit. But if they get moved out of those bags after 60 days, which is what they're trying to do now. Oh, you can access election records, within, after 60 days. It's like, well, I actually want them within 60 days. But besides that, I believe that a bill was just passed that said that we do have access to those records after 60 days, I think was the caveat, which I want. But still, if that law was passed, which I believe that's what I was told, let's see. I was sent something from another county. Let's see. I have too many emails. All right. So, let's see. HB 5180. Yesterday, Abbott signed HB 5180, granting public access to digital ballot rights after an elections canvass, to digital ballot rights. Okay, I think that's not even what I was asking for. And see, this is the weird thing, is because it seems to be like a partial ruling. It's not like a complete ruling. It doesn't, and then the Attorney General points out in this motion for another trial, he's like, also, but I can't tell you, I don't want to read all cut out. Can y'all still see me? Oh, wait, I'm back. Oh. Interesting. So we don't even know if this ruling is a complete ruling because the Attorney General pointed out in there, and I don't want to read all of it, but he pointed out that in the judge's ruling on May 19th, that it doesn't say anywhere in there that it's a final ruling. It says partial, and that is really, it is kind of strange. It says partial denial and partial grant. So I don't know if I was granted access to my election tapes and the other guy, I don't know if the other guy was granted access to the ballots like he was asking for. Yeah, it looks like I paused out for a while, but hopefully I'm back. I can see myself here, so hopefully I'm back. Oh. Anyways, yeah, it looks like I'm back. We don't know what's going on with this fucking case. We don't know if the judge issued a complete ruling or not, and also the ruling that the judge did issue, doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. It's a more specific statute than 1.012 of the Election Code, and that and ruled that based on the plain language of the statute, the information is not subject to disclosure under the Public Information Act until 22 months after the relevant election day, which is really ridiculous because that at that point is when they're able to destroy it. So it also says it's a question of statutory construction. In construing an ambiguous statute, one canon of construction, a court may utilize specific versus general statutory construction principle. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Legalese. If the statute is unambiguous, it is improper to go outside the language of the statute and use canons of construction. Okay, he's saying, yeah, you can't actually go outside what this law says. So if it's interpreting an unambiguous statute, then the specific versus general canon of construction has no place in the analysis. If the statute is clear and unambiguous, we must apply its words according to their common meaning without resort to rules of construction or extrinsic aids. That's case law already. Like, he's citing all this case law, and this is pretty badass. All right, so basically what I'm saying is we don't know what kind of a ruling the judge has issued. No, Ken Paxton is only temporarily suspended while he's being impeached. They impeached our boy Paxton. Can you believe it? What's up, Jiggy Bear? Who you is? Do I know you? Jiggy Bear, have you been in before? Ken Paxton was impeached by the House, and on August 30th, the Senate is going to they're going to do something in the Senate. And John B. Scott is in his place, which is interesting. And at first I was like, wow, and I was all super suspicious of John B. Scott. And I don't think John Scott wrote this. I think this was already prepared before Paxton's impeachment in case we got an unfavorable ruling, except that it is pretty accurate to what it's very specific about the judge's ruling, but they just filed a motion from the Attorney General's office asking for a new trial because of the judges interpreting the law in a weird way, and is actually issuing a ruling based on an argument that nobody even made. That's what the Attorney General's office's complaint is alleging, or motion for a new trial is alleging, that the judge is over here making rulings and on points that nobody's even made. That it is, and that when she does that, because nobody's made the point, when she issues a ruling based on that, then it's like, well, we didn't know you were going to factor in all this bullshit, otherwise we would have made arguments against that, but we're just going based off of what the law says, Yeah. Anyways, so bad news is I don't know if we got a favorable ruling, and I don't know if the ruling is final, but the good news is that John B. Scott has not stalled this, and I don't know if he wrote that. It is signed by him, but I just imagine that one of the other legal people under Ken Paxton wrote that, the motion for a new trial, but that's pretty good. So I like that. They're really defending our access to election records from Ken Paxton's Attorney General's office. Even though he's suspended, it's John Scott right now, but it's so far this is looking good. So I'm kind of happy with that. I am not happy that I didn't get any sort of notification that a ruling was made. You would think they would tell you. I'm a petitioner. They didn't tell me. They didn't say nothing. So anyways, access to election records is still in question. It is up in the air whether we will have access to election records in Texas. And that's what I said in my petition to intervene. I told the judge, I said, look, if you issue an unfavorable ruling on access to election records, it's basically like saying that access to election records is hereby prohibited until the 22-month mark when they can legally destroy them. And if they do, we'll have no recourse. Because they're not going to honor a Public Information Act record. Also, excuse me, it runs out the clock for any, like, meaningful contest or any meaningful audit. Because these RLAs and these little post-election manual counts that the Secretary of State's office is doing are not real audits. All right? I think we all agree with that. I think we all, everybody that looks at them. Enrique Alvarado, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, the bar's kind of a problem because they like to interpret the law in suspect ways, right? They like to issue suspect legal opinions. Very annoying. So, well, and see, this is the thing. I only asked for access to the testing tapes, which I looked at with my own eyeballs during the public machine testing. And I could have touched them. I could have been eating Doritos, and then I could have touched them when they were printed out. But when I asked for them after the election, I say, you know what? Can I look at those testing tapes? They were like, no. What? And then they asked the Attorney General to back them up, because you can't deny a Public Information Act request without the Attorney General backing you up and saying, yeah, that you don't have to give that to him. But the Attorney General was like, no, you have to give that. You have to give that to her. It's just election tapes. Just give it to her. And then so they didn't like that, so they sued the Attorney General, which is what I could have done if the Attorney General backed them up. But then they took it upon themselves, because for some fucking reason they do not want to give me those tapes. What's the reason, guys? These are the tapes, the testing tapes. Okay, and tapes are what print off of the computerized election machines, okay? The voting machines. The tapes print off from the voting machines, and they have all of the races and all of the totals and everything, and the date and the version of the software that's on it and all that stuff. So if I want to, in a timely fashion, check out the compare things on the tape to whatever I may, I might want to do that in a timely fashion, but they don't want me to do that. They don't want me to look at them now. I literally could have touched them while I was there, while they were doing the public testing. But they won't let me see them afterwards. They're just the tapes that print off from the machine that would have told them the results that they put in just to test the machine, just to make sure it was good. In fact, Enrique Alvarado, you say there's no statute of limitations on fraud. In fact, sometimes there is. In Texas, we have 2 years to refer for prosecution any election crimes that are brought to the attention of law enforcement. So the whole Deborah Peoples ballot harvesting thing in Tarrant County, yeah, that was brought to the attention of law enforcement over 2 years ago, and they just ran out the clock. Okay. So, sorry, can't prosecute her. It's been too long. It's been over 2 years. So, I mean, if your state passes statute of limitations on certain types of fraud, then there is statute of limitation. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean, the testing tapes are super basic. I could open records request. Like, they're just going to start denying us all of the election records now. And there's no point to it. They're all supposed to be anonymous. There's no risk to give us our election records. Because we vote by secret ballot. And what that means is that you can't trace a ballot back to a voter. It doesn't mean that the ballots are super secret and no one can ever see the ballots. That's not what that means. It just means that, like, you can't pick up a ballot and then trace that back to me and then harass me about it. You know what I mean? Cuts down on a public intimidation, voter intimidation. But the way that the statutes outline that we should number our ballots allows for a way for a voter to identify their ballot if they want to. They can walk in there and say, I want to see my ballot. I voted in this election at this polling location, and on this day, let me see my ballot. Oh, and this is my ballot number. Because the way that the statute outlines it is that the voter and only the voter knows their ballot number. So, but they're not numbering the ballots according to the law anymore. They're not numbering them according to the law. They're breaking all kinds of statutes, all kinds. I just went over with somebody earlier today about another statute that they're just blatantly violating. They just don't. And they're doing it knowingly. They know what they're doing is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes, people are just crazy. So, anyways, yeah, access to even the most basic election records in Texas is still up in the air. We got a crappy ruling. Attorney General has filed for a motion for a new trial, basically, because judge didn't seem to understand what we were trying to do. Yeah, I know a lot of people, and I get that. Like, a lot of people don't care about showing who they voted for. But some people, like some people that have nice, cushy jobs in a corporate environment, like say some conservative was being paid really nice money to work at Twitter, and somebody could trace their ballot back to them and then harass them or find some reason to fire them. That's why it's politics can get nasty, as we know. Yeah, voter ID is just the law. That's just the law. So we got to follow the law. We don't have. There's no other way to ensure that it's one vote per citizen. Because you know why? Because it's not that we don't even have to have voter ID. If we're voting in precinct, like hyper locally, then you be on the list and say, yeah, I live over here. You can, show. If we could get it in order. We could get it in order, but we're far from being able to do that. With the processes that we have in place, voter ID is absolutely necessary. It's like a minimum requirement. But, I mean, if the voter wants to tell somebody who they voted for, that's totally fine. That's not illegal, And nothing wrong with that. But another thing is, too, they act like they are concerned about, they're super concerned about, like, employers saying, oh, if you vote this way and prove that you vote this way, you get some sort of bonus, you get some sort of, like, bribes, you know what I mean? So they don't want to be able to trace anything back to anybody. They want, like, I don't know, that's just something that they say. Anywho, I don't know if I get access to my machine tapes. The other guy was asking for access to the electronic, the CVRs, and the ballot images. They don't have the ballot images. Hyder was pretty clear about that. Hyder Garcia, before he left, was pretty clear. They don't have the ballot. They didn't have the optical scan feature turned on in their heart machines. It just wasn't turned on. So the only CVRs they have are like from probably, I imagine, an audit log or something like that. But he wanted access to the ballots and the ballot images. I think that they were turning on the optical scan after that, but from what I know, the other guy in the case was asking for the CVRs and or ballot images and or actual ballots. I don't know. I just wanted the testing tapes. Well, I've made a lot of Public Information Act requests, but this one that they decided to sue over were the testing tapes. just to prove that the test went well. I mean, did it not go well? That's exactly why I want to look. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways. I'm just curious. Curious like a cat. Curious like a fox. Okay, anyways. So, also, if I drove through the craziest storm last night, guys, I was praying so hard. I was almost crying. I was so scared. You know, one of my number one fears is tornadoes. And up in the Panhandle, there's a tornado. It touched down. Unfortunately, it killed 3 people so far and injured 75 people. So pray for all of them, because I drove through that storm and it was absolutely terrifying. I pulled over I was in the country. I was in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and I was like, oh shit, it's a tornado. And I was actually scared though, and there was hail and all this stuff. So I pulled over into there's a farm or house or something. So I pulled over into their driveway, and I just sat there and I was watching shit blow sideways. I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh Jesus, please. And it passed relatively quickly, though, as a lot of those storms do. But there was tornadoes touching down in the Panhandle, and it's absolutely terrifying. So yeah, okay, Jiggy Bear, chain of custody is a huge issue. Because they're like not doing it. They're doing a really shit job of chain of custody. So, you don't have to tell me what state you're in, but obviously I'm in Texas, and we struggle with that here. We struggle with chain of custody. And there are issues. There are breaks in the chain of custody, like the rally stations. Do y'all have rally stations in your state where whenever you close out at the polling location, the judge, instead of taking all of the ballots and the machines all the way back down to central count, like right after the polls close, the judge will go, several judges will go to one central location and load everything up in like a big truck, and then ballots and everything, and then that truck will take it back to the central count station later, like near 11 or midnight. So yeah, chain of custody is a big deal, and that's a really good point, Jiggy Bear. That's a great point. Title 42, obstruction, blocking. Okay. To know nothing was changed or tampered with, right? Exactly. Oh, it's really bad. Like, I mean, it's really bad. Because records could show a legit vote out of the polling station, then end up at a destination something different. Yeah, I mean, when I talk about ballot fraud, that's what I'm talking about. Like, what's to say the chain of custody? But if you don't have the chain of custody, what's to say that ballots weren't just swapped out? Like, this bag wasn't just swapped out. This bag of ballots wasn't swapped out for another one. Well, the chain of custody should say that, and if there are witnesses and everything. And at the very least, if there is an issue and the ballots are swapped out, but the chain of custody is complete, we'll at least know where the break is, where the issue was. Say, somewhere in the transit from here to here is what happened. So let's investigate there. It narrows it down, any issues found. Chain of custody is super, super fucking important, actually. Pardon my French. I'm supposed to stop cussing. Because, so in a murder case, like if you don't have the chain of custody for evidence, the defense will challenge your like, say you don't have a chain of custody for the murder weapon. The defense will just challenge that murder weapon, the evidence, and say, where'd you even get that? Like, you just found that, You just found that on the side of the road and decided to use that as evidence. How did you even find that? And then even as it's being handled, if they say, oh, well, this gun has his fingerprints on it. And it's like, I mean, how do we know you didn't, like, hand it to him at one point, or he didn't, pick it up after it's been... The chain of custody is really important. It shows who's handling the very sensitive data. And if anything goes wrong, who's responsible. Say, you were handling that sensitive data. You fucked up. You dropped it or something. Like, you were handling all those ballots, and if they fell into the Trinity, then I know that you had them last per the chain of custody. If there's no chain of custody, it's like, who had them last? And people can play dumb. They can be like, I don't know. I don't know who dropped them into the Trinity, The Trinity's a river in Dallas-Fort Worth. Sorry, guys. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Mail fraud, you might be right, Enrique. You might be right. There may be no statute of limitations for mail fraud, which is an additional layer of the absentee ballot fraud. I mean, if you're making an application for a ballot for somebody else or unlawfully, that's fraud on a document. It's lying on an official document. If you use the mail to do that, like, you better off just walking that dog, because that's already one charge. Because if you send it through the USPS, I believe that using the USPS to commit a crime is itself a crime. So it's another charge. You know what I'm saying? So that one might not have a statute of limitations on it. You might be right, Enrique, about that. Okay, yeah, okay, Jiggy. So you get my joke. So Jiggy, you lived in the Metroplex, so you get my jokes about the Trinity. I make a lot of jokes about the Trinity, because it's a mess. You should see the Whitewater project they tried to put in there. Never mind. I'm in Tarrant County. I'm not doing Dallas County anymore. I love you, Dallas. I'll look at you from afar, but I can't deal with Dallas right now. Okay, good. Anywho. You're right about chain of custody, and Enrique, you very well may be right about the USPS fraud not having a statute of limitations once that's found out. I do believe that, like I said, I do believe that is an additional charge. So we'll see. You know, and then it's another charge for, so that's just the mail-in app, that's just the application, but then actually the handling of the ballot, filling out the ballot, and actually casting the vote is another crime for somebody else, like, or unlawful vote is another crime. So then using the USPS to cast that vote is another crime. So it's like 4 charges at least, maybe 5 if you get, oh, yeah, maybe 5. Let's see what else we can do. Throw the book at them if they're for the ballot harvesters. Coloring of laws. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, chain of custody must keep with continuances of evidences. Yeah, very good, Enrique. Enrique, are you an AI bot? Are you a legal AI bot? Are you a legal bot? Because you're just like, pew, pew, pew. Is this what you're talking about? Here's the U.S. Here's the federal code. Title 18, 242. So yeah, guys. I don't know really what to think. I don't know if I'm able to file another petition for intervention, but I might try, based on the ruling that the judge gave, because it was kind of random. It's like, how you gonna make a ruling based on an argument that nobody has made? Nobody. John Scott, who's the acting attorney general, this is making me kind of like him, what he said, because he was like, not even the county argued that the law was ambiguous. You know what I mean? So it's weird. The way that she issued the ruling doesn't make any sense. But anywho, that's what I want to talk about. And guys, okay. The storm last night. Y'all know Diddy, right? Diddy, my business partner that has one of the streams. Okay, he was like, so he lives in the country too, and it rolled over where he was at. And I was texting him. I was like, dude, I drove through that storm last night. That was so scary. And he was like, yeah. He goes, it was pummeling our house with hail. And he said, but check this out. And he sent me this video, guys. He sent me this video, and the hail had styrofoam balls in the center of it, like different sizes, and the bigger the styrofoam balls, the bigger the chunk of hail. Like when the ice would melt from the hail, it was like styrofoam balls, and they still have the styrofoam balls all over the yard, all over. If you are in North Texas and you were part of that storm, or you witnessed that storm last night, and if you got hail, can you go and check your yard and see if you have weird little styrofoam balls all over your yard? Because that's what my business partner found, and he sent me a video of it. I watched it. Him and his friend were walking around picking them up and being like, look, and you could see the actual hail. You could see the styrofoam balls inside. And let me tell you, okay, how scary that storm was to drive through. I cannot. I was so scared. Okay, it was a hellish storm, and by the grace of God, you know, there's a driveway there, and I pulled over into it, but it was terrifying, and I wondered to myself, is this natural, or is this a George Soros or Bill Gates seeded storm? You know what I mean? Sometimes I even, you know, freak myself out with some of these paranoid thoughts. But I thought to myself, no, it's that season. It is that season in Texas. We get crazy storms. But I thought to myself for a second, you know, like, damn, this is a crazy storm, you know? This is crazier than, honestly, it did come out of nowhere. They're trying to say on the radio, oh, most people are storm ready. No, you have to tell us that there's going to be a storm like that coming. They didn't really tell us, but sometimes they come out of nowhere. In the defense of Texas weathermen, sometimes they come out of nowhere. Yeah, like, yeah, well, no. Okay. Jiggy Bear says, seems like plastic in the atmosphere. These are, they're perfect styrofoam balls. They're perfect balls. And but they're all over the yard. It's not like a gathering of plastic. It's not like random plastic that was floating around in the air. How would it combine into a perfect styrofoam ball? I mean, does plastic float into the air and then the ozone compresses it into styrofoam? Is that how styrofoam is made? I don't know. I honestly don't know how styrofoam is made. But they were perfect balls all over the yard, and you can see them inside the picture. I shared it on the Telegram. Go on my Telegram. Let me see if I can send it. I'm gonna send it. You know what? That's it. I'm gonna send it right now. I'm gonna email it to myself, and then I'm gonna show you guys, because I'm telling you. You don't believe me. I know you don't believe me. So I'm gonna show you, because I know you don't believe me. All right. So just give me a minute. I know. I can tell. I can hear it in your texts. I can hear it in your comments. The disdain. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Before my laptop dies and I have another unprofessional moment, let me plug it in. All right, guys. So, you don't even know. Is this harp? Is this harp? Is this what we're talking about? Check this out. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Okay, I'm trying to zoom in. Okay, hang on. Alright. Here we go, guys. Check this out. Look. Can y'all see that? Hang on, let me make this full screen so you can see that. Does that help? Okay. Can you see that? Hang on. What says you to that? What do y'all think? Do y'all see the styrofoam balls inside the ice? Can y'all see that? It's inside the ice. Let me see if I can send the video to myself. That was what was all over. See, that was, first of all, yeah, maybe it's very Texas that we're comparing the hail to a Dr. Pepper can. But also, check out the size of that hail. And then on the inside, hang on, let me see if I can do this. Okay, you know what? It's going to be easier for me to just do it like this. One sec. Well, okay. Okay, check this out. Can you... Hang on. Alright, I'm going to play this. I'm gonna lean forward so you can hear it, and I'm going to play this. Alright? Alright.
Can y'all see this? Y'all see all these little white spots? I just made a post of some hail that came down out here. It's like every spot that the hail is in, It's these little styrofoam pieces on the ground. And the bigger the piece, the bigger the hair was. It's like, I'm serious in a bit. Man, can y'all, is this crazy? Like?
Okay. So did y'all hear what he was saying? Hang on. I'll play it again. Holy sh... Y'all hear that?
Y'all see this? Y'all see all these little white spots? I just made a post of some hair
It's from last night.
that came down out here. It's like every spot that the hair is in, it's these little styrofoam pieces on the ground. And the bigger the piece, the bigger the hair was. It's like, I'm serious in a bit. Man, can y'all, is this crash like?
This is what they saw. Can y'all explain that? What is that? You know what I mean? Yeah. For real. Isn't that crazy? Water on fire. Oh, you see what? You see water on fire? All right. Enrique, you're a postmaster? That's interesting. You seen the Ohio River set on fire. Oh my gosh. That sounds heavy metal. When you see water, oh, now I see. When you see water on fire, you can believe anything. Yeah. Okay, y'all saw that. Y'all saw the styrofoam balls, the inside the hail, and then that video was my friend's friend, and they were walking around like, what the heck is that stuff? Like, that's actually like styrofoam. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Spooky. So anyways, I don't know if we're going to get a long story short, crazy storm last night. Pray for people in the panhandle. And I don't know if Texas election records are accessible by the general public. We do not have, apparently, we don't have a final ruling. I didn't get any notification of any ruling. But still, if they're not going to give us access to the testing tapes, then we're not going to get access to any election records. Like, they're basically sealing off access to the records. So keep an eye out. I'll update you guys when we have another hearing based on this. I'll update you guys with a few other things that we're doing. And I will see y'all soon. Do y'all have any, well, I guess y'all have any questions? Y'all have any questions about Texas elections? We have a new election administrator. I guess I could announce that. But he hasn't been, like, totally confirmed yet. But I think that he's confirmed. And he's a guy from inside Tarrant County. He's one of our deputy district clerks. So, methane hydrates are naturally occurring ices that can catch fire. Ooh. Science! Sparky. You have the perfect sticker that would explain the styrofoam balls. Dang. If only I could figure stickers out. So. Myself. Let me see. Anywho, yeah, so I'll give you guys, I don't know, I'll catch you guys later or something. I got that email today and I have to sneeze. Hang on. Oh. It's the light. Does light make you guys sneeze? Anywho. Is it stuck on the Dr. Pepper screen? Can y'all see me or just the Dr. Pepper? Because I'm... Okay, I can see. My screen is being weird anyways. So, yeah, I'll update you guys whenever I have more to say, which will be very, very soon. Quite soon. I'm going to be updating more on the website. Again, check out my website, takingbacktexas.org. Go to the little tab that's called the Deep State. Scroll through there, read all that. Let me know how you feel about that. Let me know if that information makes any sense, okay? And I will catch you guys later. Bye.
Devil is amongst us. Stay back, boy. This calls for divine intervention. kick ass for the Lord.